You won't believe what my boyfriend called me while I was cooking dinner for him. I was over my boyfriend's apartment this weekend and I was cooking dinner because he was studying for exams. I made pasta and a chunky sauce with meatballs and veggies. I told him dinner was ready and he goes, "What's for dinner tonight?" B***sh, with like a lot of emphasis on the last word. I was fed up. I'd had a pretty rough day with work and I have some awfully bad associations with that word being used by other people in my life who were pretty abusive. So I was so irritated that I dropped the pot of pasta sauce I'd been carrying right on the ground and was like, "Well, nothing's for dinner tonight now. And I better not hear you using that word again. It's for the girls." He was freaking out about how sauce had landed on his rug, and he even said, "You're seriously acting like a bitch right now." I didn't know what else to call it. I just walked out and got takeout for myself and went to my friend's house. She thought it was funny, but my boyfriend was furious. He kept texting and calling and sending me voice memos trying to explain that saying, "What's for dinner tonight B***sh" was a TikTok trend, and that he was just quoting something as a joke to put on TikTok. I thought that was the shittiest excuse ever. It doesn't matter if he saw it as a joke or stole the joke. It was still disrespectful, but it didn't change the fact he thought that shit was funny, to demean me when I was trying to do him a favor. Like hell I came over when he was studying to make a home-cooked dinner and he decides it's time for jokes? So I put my phone on Don't Disturb for the night and split a bottle of wine with my friend and her roommate. The next morning he was sending me angry texts demanding I clean his rug because he was too busy with exams to do it. I was shocked he left it overnight. That's disgusting. I texted him back saying, "Yeah, so that's the B***tch tax, honey. Smiley face, leave me alone till you're ready to handle your own cooking and cleaning because this B***tch isn't anymore. Also it's vile you left that soaking in all night." He called me and told me that he was okay with doing his own household work. But I did throw a full pot of sauce at the ground, so that's on me to clean up. I told him, "Yeah, no, I'm not comfortable doing chores for you if you see me like you're B***tch. He told me he didn't and it was just a trend. And I got pissed off he was playing that TikTok trend BS excuse again, and I told him, "Well, I'm starting a trend called saucing, whereas a little joke people throw pasta sauce around. You can't be mad because it's just a little trend, a little jokey joke, just a little prank bro." He got really pissed off and hung up on me, and now I'm seriously wondering if this dumb fucking TikTok joke is going to be the end of things between us. AITA for how I reacted when my boyfriend asked me, "What's for dinner tonight?" B***t, edit to address a comment I've gotten a lot, and I don't have time to reply to every time, and GT. But did you tell him not to call you a bitch? Like how would he know otherwise? Honestly, if someone has gotten to the age of 30 and not realized that women, as a whole, do not like having demeaning slurs used against them, they're beyond my help. This isn't something that needs to be told. I shouldn't have to go through life like, "Hey man, just in case you were thinking I might like demeaning slurs against my gender used on me, I don't actually smiley face, and if you were about to comment something like that, let me just tell you in no uncertain terms. Women do not like being called bitches by men. Do not call women bitches. If you needed to be told, that is unkind. Consider yourself officially told. Now you have no excuse to not understand."
When a sexist car owner refused to let a female mechanic work on his vehicle, he got a dose of malicious compliance that left him waiting many years ago. I worked at a car dealership. The attached service garage was small, and I was the only licensed mechanic. I would occasionally have issues with male customers. They would second-guess my diagnoses, watch me while I worked on their cars from the bay door, double-check my work in the parking lot, etc. I didn't deal with customers directly and would often get my apprentice to pull cars in and out of the shop for me. This morning in particular, we were busy. The lot jockey and apprentice were occupied helping wash cars for delivery and driving to a customer's house. The service advisor left a work order and keys at the parts counter, and I went out the front through service to get the car. It was in for a service campaign, which was an update done with a scan tool. It takes about 10 minutes. The customer was planning on waiting and was sitting in service. When he saw me with his keys in my hand, he immediately stood up, alarmed. I was hustling, so I walked right by him and out the door. I missed the following conversation. According to the service advisor, also female customer, "Who is that chick? Is she going to be working on my car? I don't want her working on my car." Advisor, "The other tech is out at the moment, so it's going to be quite a wait until someone else can look at your car." "See, that's fine. I'll wait for a guy. I don't want that chick touching my car." A politely, "Understood." The advisor comes to let me know, and I pull the car out and put the work order and keys back on the counter, nonplussed. Half an hour passes. The apprentice is still away, and I am happily working on something else, bringing other cars in and out. The customer is now watching each and every person who comes through the door. The high school co-op student comes in to get something signed. The customer's keys are still sitting on the desk. It's been about an hour now. "See? Hey, why hasn't my car gone in yet? Can't you get this guy to do it?" "Hey, no, sorry. He's just a co-op student, so he is not allowed to drive the cars due to liability and insurance concerns." "See? Just get someone else to bring the car in, and he can do the work. This was supposed to take 10 minutes. Hey, sorry, sir. He's just a high school student doing his co-op. He's not approved to perform warranty work. Only licensed techs and apprentices can do the recall. The car jockey returns. The advisor hands the car jockey a different set of keys, and he brings yet another car into the shop for me. The customer is becoming incensed. See, I've been sitting here for over an hour, and I've watched 5 cars go in before mine. My appointment was for 8 a.m. This is getting ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. At this point, he says that he literally doesn't care who does the recall, but that it has to be a guy. The service advisor starts listing off the names of the men who work in the dealership, then saying why they can't perform the recall. Well, there's Herman, but he's just a car jockey. He doesn't know how to work on cars. Then there's Jeet, but he's about 17. I wouldn't want him doing the recall, personally. I guess we could ask Mike, but Mike is the parts guy. He doesn't know how to use the scan tool. The detailers are men, but they know nothing about cars. The customer is fuming at this point and demands to talk to the service manager. The manager comes out of his office and guides the customer into the garage. He's pretty old school, lights up a cigarette standing at the end of my bay, and points at me. That's my best technician. Those guys take orders from her. You can either wait for her to finish what she's working on, and then you can ask if she's still willing to do your work, or you can take your car somewhere else. The guy was pretty shook up at this point, and he took his car and left 2 hours after he first arrived. I don't think we ever saw him again, which was not much of a loss, all things considered. That manager in particular always stuck up for me and took my side. The service advisor has this very deadpan sense of humor. She knew full well it would easily be an hour before the apprentice would return from his errand, and that no one else could do the recall. This was not the first sexist we had encountered. Thanks for reading. Edit. Hi again. Thank you for the comments of support and shared experiences and for the updates and awards. That manager was called out of retirement to run the department more efficiently and to hire new people. Super soft spoken. We did have trouble finding good techs around that time. I was there for 4.5 years. Also, this was in 2012 or so things have changed a bit since then, I think. He did regularly smoke in the shop, as did the sales guys and detailers, mainly in the winter. Thanks again. What happens when a boss tries to dock 15 minutes of pay for being 1 minute late, but the employee refuses to work for free? Posted this in another sub and got told to try it here too. This happened about 4 years ago. I do construction and we start fairly early. Boss got tired of people walking in at 6:05 or 6:03 when we start at 6 o'clock, even though he was a few minutes late more consistently than any one of us were. So he said, if you aren't standing in front of me at 6 o'clock when we start, then I'm docking 15 minutes from your time for the day. The next day, I accidentally forgot my tape measure in my car. I had to walk back across the job site to grab it. Made it inside at 6 o'clock. Boss chewed me out and told me he was serious yesterday and docked me 15 minutes. So I took all my tools off right there and sat down on a bucket. He asked why I wasn't getting to work, and I said, I'm not getting paid until 6:15, so I'm not doing any work until 6:15. I enjoy what I do, but I don't do it for free. He tried to argue with me about it until I said, if you're telling me to work without paying me, then that's against the law. You really want to open the company and yourself up to that kind of risk? Maybe I'm the kind to sue, maybe I'm not. But if you keep on telling me to work after you dock my time, then we're going to find out one way or the other. He shut up pretty quickly after that, and everyone else saw me do it and him cave. So now, they weren't going to take his crap either. Over the next few days, guys that would have been 1 or 2 minutes late just texted the boss, hey, sorry boss. Would have been there at 6:02 and gotten docked, so I'll see you at 6:15 and I'll get to work then. And then sat in their cars until 6:15 and came in when their time started. So between people doing what I did or just staying in their cars instead, he lost a TON of productivity and morale because he decided that losing 15 minutes of productivity per person and feeling like a big man was better than losing literally 1 or 2 minutes of productivity. Even though everyone stand around BSGNG and getting material together for the day until about 6:10 anyway. After a few weeks of that, he got chewed out by his boss over the loss of productivity and how bad the dock time sheets were looking and reflecting poorly on him as a leader because we were missing deadlines over it, and it showed that he doesn't know how to manage his people. And then suddenly his little self-implemented policy was gone, and we all worked like we were supposed to and caught back up fairly quickly. Worker solidarity for the win. Not one person took his crap and worked that time for free after he tried to swing his weight around on them. But obviously I was a target after that, and only made it 2 more months before he had stacked up enough BS reasons to get away with firing me, when I called a few days in a row after my mom fell, and I took off work to take care of her and monitor her for a while during the day. TLDR, boss told me because I was 1 minute late, he was taking 15 minutes off of my time, so I didn't work for 15 minutes. People saw me, and I accidentally triggered a wave of malicious compliance in my coworkers, and the boss got chewed out over it.